This video contains copyrighted material, which use, in accordance with U.S. copyright law, 17 U.S.C. Section 107 fair use, is allowed for the purposes of criticism, commenting, news reporting, teaching, and/or research, and is not an infringement of copyright. This is a non-profit, educational video, with the purpose of promoting social, political and economic awareness.
We've done in our 15-year history. This is really crazy. My guest began wearing women's clothing at age 12 and became a transsexual at age 35. But that's not the unusual part of this story. No. This transsexual also decided at the age of 14 that she didn't want her legs. So 1 year ago, she took a saw just like this, and she cut off, this is true, stop it, she cut off her own legs. Let's meet her. Here's Sandra. Sandra, Sandra, what? Okay, what's going on? This is strange, isn't it?
Yes, it is strange.
Okay, so how old are you now?
I'm 48.
Now you're 48. When you were 35, you decided to become a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's fine. At what age did you think you didn't want your legs?
At 14.
At 14. When did you actually cut them off?
I cut this one off in 2000.
I thought that one went first, yeah. Okay, why did you cut your leg off?
I didn't want them. My brain just kept saying get rid of them, so I had to get rid of them.
What kind of things have you done to get your legs?
I've injected my knee with my feces, 120 cc's under my kneecap, just liquefy it and pump it in. I've cut myself with razor blades. I've drove nails in the bone. My brain would just say get a 16-penny nail and a hammer and drive it in the bone, and I just drive it in the bone. I built the guillotine. I dropped it on my leg. That didn't work. So, I was like, go back to the drawing board. I got to figure out something else. I cut the circulation off up here above the knee with radiator hose clamps that you put on the automobile.
Yeah.
And then down here I used like a pantyhose with like a noose on it and make it real tight. And then I just got my saw and got everything in the kitchen, got everything ready that I needed, and got up on the counter and I waited till the leg went numb and turned purple. And I got the saw and I put it on my leg and I powered it up, and then I shut it off and laid it on the counter. And I looked at the saw and looked at my leg and said, well, it's now or never. And I grabbed the saw and put it on my leg and powered it up.
Were you screaming? Were you drinking?
No.
A little bit.
Never did pass out. Never did pass out afterwards.
You didn't pass out.
Does one's feeling justify their action? Is there any doubt that he did not want his legs? He felt like he felt like a normal person by cutting off his legs. That's how he identified as it's called transable. As a matter of fact, before they start embracing this, they call it a disorder, body integrity identity disorder. People really feel like I'm not whole until I start cutting things off. Now, what is the difference between him cutting off his legs or somebody who says, a female who says, I feel like a male, so in order to feel whole, I'm going to cut off my breast? Or a male who said, in order to feel like a female, I'm going to cut off my male, a few children in here. What's the difference? There ain't no difference. They both feel like this is what they need to do. So the reason I'm saying this, my brothers and sisters, is because I want you to understand, just like this gentleman right here, it really, to them, is truth. That's their perspective. To them, there is no other way. But you and I, we're sane. They're not sane. We're in our right mind. They're not in their right mind. And so when you embrace somebody who's transgender, you're saying in your right mind, I'm going to embrace you, and you ain't in your right mind. What kind of sense did that make? Both of y'all crazy. And I'm saying, my brothers and sisters, that's why it's so important that we understand the truth. Because there are a lot of people in the black community, in the church, who are embracing people who are homosexual, people who are transgender, people who are bisexual, and we are saying it's okay. It's not okay. We've got to change. Our babies depend upon that.
She said, stop being trans or leave. So that, to me, stop being trans isn't something I could do. It'd be like telling me to stop being, you know, 6'2" or leave. And I was who I was. I was trans before we married. I was a trans parent for 23 years. It floored me, it scared me, because I didn't know how to not be trans.
Stephanie Walsh, welcome to Daily Extra.
Grown man, have a family, decides well, during his time with his wife, he said, I'm transgender, I'm not really a male, I'm a female, but he also identified as a 9-year-old little girl. He actually had, the reason I'm cutting this short because of time, but he actually found a couple to adopt him as the little girl. And that couple allows him to play with their daughter and their grandchildren. When a world embraces demonic concepts, the Bible says a little leaven would do what? The whole lump. They're seeing the leavening of America going bit by bit, inch by inch, because the body of Christ, the people with the truth, have chosen to remain silent. America, who's only have the choice between Hillary and Trump, is jacked up. Amen. It shows that America is messed up. Amen. And we're messed up because the church refuses to speak the truth. If the church would speak the truth, the Bible said just speak it. Let God fight the battle. Just speak the truth, because the truth is the only thing that can set them free. Yes. Yes. But in the church, we have people who, because of ignorance or because of sentimental reasons, have refused to call sin by its name. And I'm saying, my brothers and sisters, I'm just showing you, again, what I'm showing you is just light. But I'm hoping you're seeing that the devil ain't playing. He's for real. Amen. So you got people who are transgender. You got people who are transracial. You got people who are transable. You got people who are trans-age. Now, I'm going to introduce the people who are trans-species. There are people who identify as animals. You say, how in the world? Because the Bible says a little leaven will keep on leavening.
Have you ever seen March of the Penguins, where they go and they march in Antarctica and they huddle up in a group, and we all protect our eggs and we wait until the eggs hatch and then we feed our young? It's just the most beautiful thing. You never see that in humanity. That's why I just love the penguins.
This is a young man who identified as a penguin, his buddy identified as a gorilla, and they're allowed to walk around in school.
Okay, so as Mr. Wine explained, the decision that was made about the headgear, not the costume. Is that correct, Mr. White?
That is correct. He can wear the costume, but he cannot wear the headgear.
Well, what about...
They told him the issue is him wearing the headgear, but they told him he could still keep wearing the costume. This is at a high school. So I'm saying, you said, why aren't they speaking the truth? Why are they acting so crazy with all this? Because if they embrace the transgender identity, they got to embrace every other identity. That little boy thinks he's a penguin. This girl thinks she's a cat. 20 years old, she said, I've been a cat all my life.
Jeg fant ut at jeg var katt da jeg var 16 år, da leger og psykologer fant ut hva som var med meg under fødselen.
She called it a birth defect that she's a human. Now people may laugh, they may pick and say, no, that ain't real. It is real. Because when the devil takes over your mind, all types of things can happen. Now, for those of you all, and I'm assuming everybody here is saved. I'm assuming. If I ain't, well, God forgive me. But for those of you all who are saved, think about how you thought when you weren't saved. Think about the mess you did when you weren't saved. Think about stuff you thought was okay when you weren't saved. The change that you have now, you say, how would I do that? How would I think that? The same way these people are thinking this right here. That's why, my brothers and sisters, we can't enable them. We can't go along with it. We can't follow the crowd. We must speak the truth, because if we don't speak the truth, they have no chance of change. They have no chance of restoration. It's really, really important. And I'm saying a world going this mad is now telling our kids, you can be one of 63 different genders. This is a new normal. According to Jet Magazine, one of the coolest black families in America, one of the 10 coolest, according to Jet Magazine. This is why we got to speak out against it, because they're calling this stuff civil rights, and it ain't no civil rights.
When you're a child, your mom and dad are the entire universe, and that universe is expanding. Just this week, the lead actor in Transparent, who plays a transgender father, won a Golden Globe. And 2 little boys in Kentucky are part of this expanding world. Their transgender parents have endured more than most to find each other and to bring them into the world. A mom and dad who haven't told their neighbors they weren't born this way, haven't told them, that is, until tonight. On the surface, the Bowsers may look like an ordinary family.
Do we have tomatoes?
There's mom, Bianca, age 32, dad, Nick, he's 27. And their 2 rambunctious toddlers, Kai, aged 3, and Pax, 17 months.
I got it! All right, yay! Merry Christmas.
But in their wildest dreams, these 2 parents never imagined that they would get to enjoy this kind of ordinary. Because behind her long black hair and feminine figure, Bianca was born a boy named Jason. And despite his cropped hair and the whisper of a mustache, Nick was born a girl named Nicole.
We fit the basic definition of what a transgender person is, so... Let me just show you a trick, though, okay? Our children do not see us as transgender people. We are mommy and daddy.
Don't go, mommy and daddy.
We'll be right back.
Mommy and daddy. The mommy is really a what? And the dad is really a what? Well, how they have kids? No. They didn't change it. He had the children. He stopped taking his hormones that made him be a fake man, and he, or really she, had the children. So the little kid gonna say, my daddy had me. That's confusion. That's where it's headed. And I'm telling you, my brothers and sisters, there are people that are amongst us who are transgender you never would know. What is so challenging is, I ask parents, would you allow your children to play with their children? And some people say yes, some people say no. Some people say, I don't know. But my point is, if you understand the leavening process, there is a genetic link between the confusion of the parents that's passed on to the children. I don't have a lot of time to get into the biblical account, but I ask people, why did God destroy Sodom and Gomorrah? He destroyed the men and the boys and the babies. Why? Because the leavening had done its job so thoroughly. And I tell people, God did not destroy Sodom and Gomorrah because of homosexuality. He did not. He destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah because of unrighteousness. Lot came to God, Abraham came to God. He said, Lord, if I find 50 people in Lot that are righteous, we destroy. He said, no, you found 50. Yeah. And we know he kept going down, down, down till he finally said, Lord, if I find 10 people who are righteous in Sodom and Gomorrah, will you destroy it? See, now 10 people include a lot of his family now. Remember now. God said, you find 10 righteous people, I won't destroy it. Y'all know the story. So I tell people, he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities around them according to the scriptures because of unrighteousness. But the indication of that level of unrighteousness was seen in the normalcy of homosexuality. What am I saying? America is reaching that level of unrighteousness. How do we know? Because this confusion is now being celebrated. And what's happening, my brothers and sisters, if you think if you're going to stay in your little corner, in your little church, and you're going to live righteous and not be affected by this, you're confused. Because the devil's goal is to destroy the family by making this the norm. And in order for him to make this the norm, he must make sure that light can never be seen. In essence, the church must be shut up. That's why it's so critical that in this time which we have, we start being bold about this, because the life you save may be your child's. Amen. The national agenda to corrupt our children is even greater.
Over the past decade, several states have passed laws that open women's bathrooms, locker rooms, and shelters to anyone who identifies as a woman, including biological males. Many women have objected, citing issues of privacy and safety. Men who identify as transgender and their allies have dismissed these concerns. They say that no woman would have anything to fear from those who call themselves trans women. This film covers just a small selection of violent and predatory men, all of whom would be allowed into women's most vulnerable spaces under the laws that are being passed around the country. Please watch and decide for yourself whether women have reason to be concerned. Thomas Lee Benson was convicted of both paying to view child pornography and first-degree sexual abuse. The victims were grade school girls in his neighborhood. He was caught in a women's changing room and was sent to prison. On release, he was designated a predatory sex offender. 5 years later, he put on women's clothes and entered a dressing room where girls were changing into swimsuits. 2 years after that, he was caught yet again in a women's changing room. A few years later, dressed in a bra, wig, and lipstick, he was caught after invading yet another girl's locker room. Taylor Bueller put on a bra and a wig and entered a women's bathroom at a community college to spy on women. The police found a pair of women's underwear in his front pocket. He admitted that he was the suspect in an earlier voyeurism incident at the same school. In that incident, he took a shower in the girls' locker room for sexual gratification. Dressed in a wig and women's clothing, Jason Pomare snuck into a Macy's bathroom to videotape women. He reached under stalls and filmed women using the toilets, acquiring hours of footage. Lila Perry is a teenage boy who insists he is a girl. The school district gave him a private restroom, but he wanted to use the girls' locker room, and so he started using it. The girls organized a school walkout in protest. The federal government is now threatening schools with loss of funding if they don't give in to the demands of teenage boys to access naked girls. James Jimmy Lilly is a 24-year-old man who identifies as transgender and says he is in the process of becoming a woman. He is a youth minister and is getting a teaching degree. He has also been charged with multiple counts of sexual abuse of a female juvenile, including 1 count of incest, 1 count of second-degree sexual assault, and 31 counts of first-degree sexual abuse. The victim was 9 years old when he started abusing her, and he continued until she was 16. Since news of his arrest went public, police say they are receiving claims that Lilly may have committed sex crimes in other states. Norwood Smith Burns has a long record of indecent exposure and was on probation for public indecency when he was arrested yet again. Burns started in the women's section of Walmart, pulling up his skirt to expose his white girdle and dark thong underwear. He laid on the floor and took off more clothes to expose himself to young children and was subsequent.
This is what Target says they will allow in their restrooms. When you see this thing about transgender individuals who identify as whatever should be allowed to use the restroom of the gender they identify with, those men now can go freely into any women's restroom and do all the peep they want and not be touched. That's what most people don't realize. What they're saying is, even if a man who identifies as a female does not have a dress on, does not have a wig, has all of his male parts, can go into a female's changing room while they're changing and exposing themselves, he can exchange and expose himself and can nothing be done about it. That's what Governor McCrory did when he signed in law in North Carolina. He says you cannot do that unless you've had your gender changed on your birth certificate. That's even worse, because what it tells me now that if this young child wants to get married to this guy, he said, well, I want to make sure what you said. She said, I want to see your birth certificate. He said, here it is. This proves that I'm a male. But yet, what she doesn't know is he is really a she that changed her gender on her birth certificate. That's where we are today. So, in all honesty, women are not safe because men who are perverted will take this law and use it as you saw here. I've got plenty of other, I'm making it short because of time, but there are plenty of other examples of men who are now claiming to be transgender so they can do now what they would have been put in jail for before. Transgender restrooms and fitting rooms, when they found out this Christian group started a petition, now they have 1.3 million signatures asking Target to reconsider, and Target, one of Target's main meetings, they said, we don't care less, we don't care what you all say. We're going to keep doing this right here. What I'm telling you all is this is the new normal. We as Christians are going to find ourselves to be in a minority. That's why the Bible says, Christ said, I got to cut my coming short because if I let it go on, no flesh will survive. Target is making our little girls targets. Washington State opens what? All what? To men. That's the whole state. So if a man, I hate, now, we always be teenagers, right guys? Because before we were saved as teenagers, we want to get a peep, didn't we? Let's be honest. Am I right? So the thing is, the guy say, listen, man, all you got to do is claim to be a woman. You can go do it. You can see all you want to see. And that's right. They can. Yeah. That's what they're saying. Arizona bill forces public buildings to install what? Where? Why? Because transgender women who are really men got to have a way to use the bathroom if they not have a sex reassignment surgery. So women, look out. There's a urinal coming to your bathroom soon. That's the new normal.
This is the women's bathroom. I'll prove it to you.
Woman! See that? There's even a skirt. Woman.
Well, people in Scotland wear
go.
skirts. Men in Scotland wear skirts.
This is the women's restroom, and there is a men's bathroom. Women's restroom.
Our girls should not be exposed to this. Again, imagine now the girls changing to go bathing, going swimming. This man comes in there who says he's a female. He may have on a dress. He may have on a wig. But like Bruce Jenner, he has his male package. Yeah. So he undresses, and now the little girls are exposed to men's genitalia, and it ain't right. But they're saying it is. They're saying it is his right to do that, and if they got a problem with it, they need to leave. What? Students are saying that there should be allowed sanitary napkin bins in men's bathrooms. Now, brothers, I don't know about you all, and I'm not trying to make light of this because, again, these people are confused. But when you enable that, I mean, I don't want to be in a bathroom, male's bathroom, with sanitary napkin bins in there. That's not natural. But to accommodate those who are confused, everybody has to accommodate. In other words, everybody now is being leavened. Now, this is interesting. Selective service. You know that according to the law, a male XY, when he becomes 18, he must do what? Register for the draft. That's a law, right? So I started thinking, I said, well, I wonder how the government selective service is dealing with this now. You know, Obama and the Democrat Party and some Republicans too, I ain't leaving them out, but they're saying we should allow people to identify what they want to identify and leave them alone. Live and live. That's what they're saying. But let me tell you the hypocrisy of that. If you go to this site, the selective service system, and I want to find out who must register. Down here it says transgender people. I said, what they say about transgender? It says individuals who are born female and have a gender change are not required to what? Register. What they're saying is if you were born female, even if you have a sex reassignment surgery, they say you ain't got to register. But I thought you calling them a male now. They say you have to register. But they say U.S. citizens or immigrants who are born male and have a gender change are still required to register. Run tell that. If that ain't hypocritical, I don't know what is. And I started asking myself a question. Is that why all of a sudden they are now allowing females to come in and be part of infantry? Is it because there are so many men who are now fake women and they said we're going to get you one way or the other? Think about that. This is where they want it to happen. This is the new normal. You go into a restroom and you don't know who's in there. Charlotte started all this. The Charlotte Observer, their newspaper says, girls must what? Discomfort of what? Seeing male genitalia in locker room. The Charlotte Observer says, get over it. And I'm telling you, the city of Greensboro, now I'm about High Point, but I'm from Greensboro. The city of Greensboro, the city council voted a resolution to support this stuff that Charlotte started. So the reason this thing with HB2 started was because Charlotte was going to demand and make it a law that all businesses had to allow people to use the bathroom of the gender that they identify with. But in essence, men could use women's bathroom and women could use men's bathroom. Charlotte said, I'm gonna make you do it. That's gonna be law. When they did that, they pushed the hand of the governor, and the governor had real quickly say, no, it ain't gonna happen. But Charlotte is a city that started this whole thing. And what people don't know now, and I'm letting y'all in a little secret, what people don't know is the help me, Lord, the GLBT advocates met with McCrory before any of this thing happened, telling him that if he didn't support their movement, they were going to make North Carolina the epicenter of this whole thing, and that's why the thing happened in Charlotte. It was not by accident, my brothers and sisters, it was by design.
That's why they've been canceling those little shows, you know, the kind of polls.
They're doing it trying to force our hand. But I'm telling you, my brothers and sisters, that's why the church must raise up and say, we're going to support it. Because if we don't support it, our kids are going to be exposed to this stuff. You're going to be exposed to it. The next bathroom you go into, you coming out, and it'd be a lady in a dress, she say, good evening. Sound like Barry White, look like Barry White with a dress. But my whole point is, and don't get me wrong, these people are confused, but there is no way I can embrace that. Trans faith. This is a transgender female. A transgender female is a fake woman, and a transgender male is a fake male. This is a transgender African-American male who thinks he's a female, and he supports this thing in Charlotte.
Madam Mayor, City Council, despite the arguments that we've heard tonight, I've got to speak from my heart. I am a transgender pastor, preacher, serving over at Sacred Souls Community Church. And I believe that God calls all of us to come together as one body, to be able to live in harmony and unity with mankind, one with another. The rights for me to be able to have, to be able to go into a restaurant, to be able to go to the bathroom, to be able to walk down the street without discriminative laws against me, but for me and with me, as every other Charlottesville here would have those rights. I think that we all need to have those rights, that we all need to be able to stand as one. Thank you very much.
And let me say this, my brothers and sisters. As far as God is concerned, we have all the rights we want. God's a God of choice. God said, whatever you want to choose, go ahead. He says, but beware, there are consequences. If you call yourself a Christian, you have no rights. The Bible said we are purchased with a price. He said we belong to Christ. We are not our own. We have no more right. We've given ourselves over. We've yielded ourselves to Christ if you're a Christian. And if you're a Christian, because you have no rights, then you must do what God says do. There ain't no choice. God said, either you're for me or you'll be against me. He said, if you want to be against me, go ahead. Do your thing. But the problem is, my brothers and sisters, when we call sin a civil right that must be accepted by us all, then that's what we got to draw the line. Because God said, I am not any of, he said, what communion does light have with darkness? If it's evil, it's evil. If it's sin, it's sin. If the church should speak against it, we should not be part of it. And this is lukewarm. This is dangerous because it's a black person who calls himself or her and a preacher, and so people believe that the black church supports this. And if we speak the truth, if we can speak out against it, it's not to condemn, but it's to convict. We have to speak the truth. Yes. Because there are people in our families, there are people in your families that are confused. There's some people in your family that are confused. And if we don't speak the truth, what chance do they have? This, I'm ending this right now. I got two more things to show you. But this will give you the scientific explanation. Johns Hopkins University, or hospital, is one of the most renowned hospitals in America, in the world. They're the one that pioneered the sex change surgery. They did it because they thought that people who were confused, who would be allowed to identify and to make the transition physically to the gender they identify with, they said that'll make them happy. They found that it did not make them happy. Why? Because you cannot be happy if God ain't supporting you. I don't care how you twist it. Now, of course, the church is going to say amen to it. The world going to say you're full of it. But if the Holy Spirit is not a part of your life, you can't be happy. You can't. You're going to be miserable. You're going to try to do all kinds of things. Solomon said it's all vanity. All the stuff he tried to do, he said, without God, it's all vanity. That's right. But the point is, this is what one of the leading scientists, doctors, said about this whole thing about transgenderism.
Trigger warning ahead. Johns Hopkins psychiatrist now coming out exposing the fraud of transgenderism. Yes, Michael W. Chapman for CNS News reports some news that will certainly trigger transsexuals across America to cry out in agony. Dr. Paul R. McHugh, the Distinguished Service Professor, there he is right there, on the left, of course. He's a Distinguished Service Professor of Psychiatry at Johns Hopkins University, and he's also the former Psychiatrist-in-Chief for Johns Hopkins Hospital, who has studied transgendered people for 40 years, said it is a scientific fact that transgendered men do not become women, nor do transgendered women become men. All such people, he explained in an article for the Witherspoon Institute, become feminized men or masculinized women. Counterfeit.
40 years he's been involved. He said it's a fake. There is a website by the Witherspoon Institute. It's called Transgenderism, a Pathogenic Meme. It was written June 10th, 2015, where he goes into more detail about this issue. The main thing he says is, we tried it at Johns Hopkins when we did the surgery, and we found out that it had no effect on the person's well-being, we stopped doing the surgeries. But yet, you see all these other people doing the surgery because, again, it's not about the people involved, my brothers and sisters. It's a demonic movement to destroy the family. And now you're seeing how this can happen. Not only is this destroying the family because it is bringing in this whole mess about different genders, but you've got the trans-ager, you got the trans-able, you got the trans species. The whole trans thing, again, you are creating an environment or a culture that is no longer patterning itself according to the biblical model. And this is what is really needs to be spoken about. If a person goes through sex reassignment surgery, if a male goes through reassignment surgery, that male can no longer be a father. So for that family tree, it is stopped. That's what the devil's doing. The Bible is particular about family tree. He begat he. He begat him. He begat. The Bible says the family tree must be maintained. The devil said, I stop it when I have a male go through sex reassignment surgery. He also, in a female who goes through her sex reassignment surgery, can no longer be a mother. So in essence, the devil kills, steals, and destroys that person's ability to be fruitful and multiply the way God has it designed it. And that's what's happening. The new normal. Men will become mothers and give birth, as we saw earlier. Men will be getting abortions. It's funny. What they're trying to do now is get Planned Parenthood to agree to freely give abortion to men, because these are fake men who really are women who get pregnant, and now men, quote unquote, become the Planned Parenthood to get abortion, the new normal. Men would need to get pap smear. It's funny. A man, a fake man who walks around with a beard and muscles and buff. There's some people I can show you would never ever guess they were born female. But those individuals still have the female internal organs. They still need a pap smear. Women would be fathers and would need to get regular prostate exams. Could you imagine going to male office, a doctor that treats male disorders, and you hit all these males in there, and also this woman comes here, so pretend to be a woman in a dress, because she/he need to get his prostate checked. Doctors are having to check prostates of quote unquote females now. Confusion. Child's gender would be determined by the woman's seed. Again, God has determined that the woman would be, the child would be determined by the men's seed. But when you have a male who is pretending to be a female but still has his package, then you have a woman, according to society, that determines the seed of the children, which again is against God's will. Parents won't know the gender of their child until the child decides what gender they want to be. So they're telling parents right now, don't wear blue and pink. Don't even bring it to the hospital. When you have a child, you got a child. What gender? Ain't no gender yet until the child decides. So you say it'll be a boy or girl. You say, I don't know. But that's what they're telling our parents. They said, you don't know until the child chooses it. That's crazy, but that's the new normal. Again, what did God say? The woman shall not wear that which pertains to a man, neither shall a man put on a woman. Now you see why God says abomination, because now you're seeing what that has caused. God said it is confusion, it is destroying the family, it's destroying the humanity the way I purposed it. That's why God called that an abomination. I got 2 more video clips. I'm going to let you all go. Have you learned anything tonight, this afternoon?
Yes.
All right. Has it changed you?
Yes.
No.
You said no?
I've been fighting this war for years on Facebook, and all I get is from the Christians that are consensual or sympathetic to the homosexual agenda, is that I'm full of hatred. But I don't let that deter me.
Right.
I don't let it move me. But that's what I've been getting.
And you will keep on getting it because Christ came unto his own, and his own knew him not. But God says, don't worry about it, because my word will not return unto me void. Keep preaching the truth. Because I'm convinced that there are millions of Christians who may be sympathetic, but when they see this right here, ain't too many of them going to say, I'm going to remain in my level of confusion. You can't confuse sin and it not affect you. But let me show you this. This is an awesome testimony of a young man that, again, was led down the road of confusion, but God redeemed him.
Most of you know me as Riri Nicole, but from this point on, you're going to know me as Antonio, because that's who I am. The devil had me to believe that I was someone who God didn't complete. I was someone that needed to be someone else. The devil had me believe that. But I introduced to you Antonio. Right now you might say, you don't look like no Antonio, you look like Riri Nicole. But I gave my life to Christ. And he said, don't worry about all that. Let me do the rest. The enemy had me believing that I can inherit the kingdom of heaven like this, in the state of mind that I was. And that's a lie. That's a lie. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change myself back to who I was and allow God to use me as a strong man, because that's what I am. And I just want to tell you guys that whoever says that it's okay for you to change the way that you look or the way that you are, or change your gender, told you it was okay, they told you a lie. I just got to say that. But right now, I'm working on me. Jesus is working on me, might I say. It's a lie. It's all a lie. It's all a lie. The enemy wants it to look beautiful and glamorous, but it's not. It's not. So I invite you guys to come with me on my journey as I rehabilitate myself. See, God's already restoring me, but now it's time for rehabilitation. It's time for me to turn away from anything that is not of Christ. And all that day is going to change. It's going back. It's going back to hell where it came from. I'm sorry. A lot of you might not agree, but it is what it is. It is what it is, and the truth is that when God make you, he don't make no mistakes. And the devil is not going to use me. I walked through hell. It was about six whole months of me being in hell. Y'all wonder why I did not make a video, or why I hadn't been the same, or why I was walking through hell, literally, the flesh falling off my bones, rats eating at me, my eyes were covered. I could feel the fire. I could hear the souls, and I could smell the death. And I told God I didn't want to be that. That's not what I wanted to be. Have me be what you need me to be, and use me the way that you need me to be used. So I invite you guys to come with me on my journey. Me going back to where I was, and that's being a strong man of God. See, the devil wanted me to think that I was supposed to be a woman, and I was supposed to marry a man, and I was supposed to do all of that. And look at these. Look at what the devil had me do. And it was my choice. My mind wasn't where I needed it to be. Right now, in the name of Jesus, it's going back. And I invite you to let Christ lead your life. Let him fix it. He can fix it. Ain't nothing too big for him to fix. So, from this point on, my blogs are going to be about me going back, and I'm going to let you walk firsthand and see that it can be done.
Ain't that powerful? Anybody that believes God cannot change don't know the God I serve. God says, all you got to do is give me a chance. As the song says, earth has no sorrow that heaven cannot heal. And I tell people that's why we must know the truth. We must speak the truth. We should not ever enable, because we never know who we will help. God will use us because we speaking against the lie, because we're speaking against the error. We never know who God's going to use us to reach and to save. That's right. This is Antonio now, and this will be the last thing that we'll see.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the
morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, don't laugh at the SpongeBob sheet.
So we gon' walk it out. Move mountain.
You know, sometimes the journey gets hard, but I can't give up. I can't give up on what I believe in, and I know that God is going to make it okay. And sometimes it's so hard for me to even look in the mirror, and people don't even understand what I go through on a daily basis. And not only that, just the things that I have to unlearn out of my mind at the same time as learning new things and becoming restored and renewed and becoming a new person. Keep in mind, I've lived as a woman for over 18 years. I've been transgender for 15 years. So there's a lot of things that I have to do. There's a lot of positions that I have to be in my mind in order to successfully transform. It's not easy.
But I promise we would take the world to its feet.
But every time I get discouraged, I pray. I have to have my faith. I have to believe that God is everything. It's the only thing that keeps me going. And since I've been back in Christ, and I've been trying to keep my mind guarded, things is better. And it's only confirmation that I'm walking in my full truth.
Walking in the truth. The Bible has a text where it says something about different types of sin and different type of lifestyle and different type of character, and it ends by saying, and such were some of you. There's nothing that God cannot overcome. But my brothers and sisters, if we don't speak the truth, then millions of people will find themselves living a lie and never ever coming to the realization of the truth. I hope something that I've said this afternoon has changed your heart, has changed your mind. I want to thank you all for having me here. I hope, again, this has been beneficial. You have people in your family that may have this level of confusion. Love them. Don't enable them. Sometimes love has to be tough. But knowing that when you speak the truth, you now are releasing the power of the Holy Ghost on those individuals, and you're dispensing the confusion of devils. Any questions? Thank you very much, and may God bless you.